Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the Week 9 Southland Conference Football Coaches Conference Call. We are recording this call. It is also being streamed live on the Southland Digital Network, including southland.org and the iPhone and Android apps that the conference launched before the start of the season. We will have a playback of this call available on the digital network later today. You may find the Southland Conference weekly release on the Southland website. It was also emailed last night. Want to draw your attention to that release. We have outlined the tie-breaking procedures in determining the conference's automatic qualifier into the NCAA Division I playoffs. I do want to go over a few instructions for the call today. The call is restricted to official news gathering media members only. The general public, including fans and fan websites, are prohibited from participating during the live call. We ask that you do not place the call on hold or use the speakerphone function at any time while on today's call. I have muted all lines prior to the start of the call. To unmute your line, you may press star 6 at any time, and then we ask that when you're done asking a question that you do mute your line again. You may do that by pressing star 6. Media, prior to asking a question, we ask that you identify yourself by name and media organization. We also ask that you be mindful of others on the call and limit follow-up questions to give everyone on the call an opportunity to ask a question during each coach's window of availability. Violation of these guidelines may lead to immediate disconnection from the call, which is at my discretion. I want to go over last week's results very quickly. There were 3 games, all involving Southland Conference teams. Stephen F. Austin beat Nichols State 44-10. Central Arkansas beat Lamar 24-14, and Sam Houston State beat McNeese State 45-10. This week's schedule, all 8 teams are in action. There are 4 league games. Sam Houston State is at Lamar at 3 p.m. That is on the Southland Conference Television Network. Nichols State is at Northwestern State. That game is at 6. Stephen F. Austin is at McNeese State. That is also on the Southland Conference Television Network and will kick off at 7. And Central Arkansas is at Southeastern Louisiana. That game also at 7. As I mentioned just a moment ago, there are, for the first time in the 5-year history of the Southland Conference Television Network, the network will feature a doubleheader. The first game is at 3, Sam Houston State and Lamar. The second game is at 7, Stephen F. Austin and McNeese State. Excited about that. In the polls this week, there are 2 teams ranked in each poll, and the 2 teams have identical rankings in each poll. Sam Houston State is number 5 in the Sports Network poll and number 5 in the FCS Coaches poll, and Central Arkansas is 14th in both of the polls. McNeese State is receiving votes in both polls, and Stephen F. Austin in Southeastern Louisiana receiving votes in the Sports Network poll. We just got a release here in the office moments ago that the Walter Payton watch list has been expanded. The conference now has 3 individuals appearing on that watch list. Winrick Smothers, the quarterback at Central Arkansas, Timothy Flanders, running back at Sam Houston, and Cordell Roberson was added today, the receiver at Stephen F. Austin. Certainly excited to have 3 of those individuals listed there. With that, Players of the Week last week on offense, Richard Sincere from Sam Houston State. He had 12 carries for 132 yards and a pair of touchdowns. He had 155 all-purpose yards in Sam Houston's win over McNeese State. Defensive Player of the Week, J.T. Cleveland, also of Sam Houston State. He recorded 6 tackles, including 3 tackles for loss and a pair of sacks to help the Bearcat defense limit McNeese to just 210 yards of total offense and 79 yards rushing. Special Teams Player of the Week was Kevin Buford from Central Arkansas. He had 4 punts of 190 yards in the 10-point win over Lamar that clinched a winning season for Central Arkansas. With that, we'll go ahead and move on to the coaches portion of today's call. Coach Stubbs, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, joined now by Charlie Stubbs, the head coach at Nicholls State. Last week, Nicholls lost to Stephen F. Austin 44-10, and this week traveled to Northwestern State. That game is at 6 p.m. Coach, talk a little bit about that game last week and what you're expecting from the Demons on Saturday.
Well, again, we traveled up there. That was my first opportunity to go up to Stephen F. Austin. They got a good thing going there. They got a very good football team. We caught them, I'm sure, at the wrong time, but they're very talented. They're very skilled on offense, and they have a nice system, and they executed it very well. And, again, they're very solid on defense. They've got some excellent players there, especially up front, very athletic. So they were one of the most athletic teams we played. They forced us to be one-dimensional. The point total got going. They made a lot of plays with their offense and kind of made us be one-dimensional. We weren't able to run the football like I'd like to have been able to run, because then we could have maybe controlled the ball a little bit, time of possession, and have some long drives. But we weren't able to do that. We were able to throw for approximately 300 yards, but again, those right there weren't resulting in real significant scores. So, again, it was a super challenge. I thought our kids did play hard. I know that's not just coach talk, but they do play hard. Are we always focused on talking about with assignments and techniques? No, that's what we're always striving for. We played a tremendous amount of new guys, new players that hadn't played significantly this year just due to injuries that have occurred. So they got some great opportunities against some very talented players. So hopefully we can grow from it and go forward. It's a challenge this week going to Northwestern. Very good team, too. I mean, they all are in the Southland Conference. I'm sure, getting any win in the Southland Conference, you really got to play well. There's never going to give you anything. Again, talented. We got our work cut out. We're working hard. I feel like we're getting better in some areas. We just need to collectively put it all together. And, we're just super excited about going there and getting another chance to compete.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Charlie Stubbs, the head coach at Nicholls State Media. Just as a reminder, you may need to press *6 to unmute your phone line prior to asking a question, and we also ask that you identify yourself by name and affiliation.
Hey, Coach, it's Teddy at the Common. How you doing this morning, buddy?
Doing very good, Teddy.
I guess, Coach, this has become a weekly medical update, I guess, with some of your players. But, obviously ever since LeQuentin and Tuscany has gone down, your running game has really suffered on that. And obviously, what's the status on them? And if you don't have them back, what are some of the things you hope to do to jumpstart that running game again?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Right now, neither one of them have been cleared. They're still just nursing their injuries. So, we're just trying to package a few things together, and we use Marcus Washington a little bit in our so-called Wildcat package now. We're designing some more runs that we can get to where we're just not good enough to just throw down after down. We just haven't progressed that far. We're throwing the ball better than we ever have since I've been here. I mean, but we need to complement it with a very sound running game. So, right now I'm patching it together. Unfortunately, just so many injuries, and it's just some of them even concussions, which, they appear to be ready to go, but they're not cleared. So you just respect that and move forward. And even last week, we had both of our safeties, Segan Virginal and Jordan Hanbury not play. And then you can go on and on through the list. So it's not complaints, but right now I sure hope that at some point this season I can get those other guys back offensively like the Quentin, Caston and Toscani, because we were doing some nice things in the first third of the season offensively, and we really had a plan. We were really evolving nicely where we really would have been more competitive, but hopefully we'll get them back. We got 5 more opportunities down the stretch, and all of them are good teams to play.
And Coach, how disappointed are you with the defense? Obviously, it hasn't really. Obviously, injuries have affected that side of the ball too. But it seems like y'all have yet to recapture some of that early season play that y'all had throughout the year, and consistency has really been a problem there.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We started the season with a tremendous effort. defensively and execution. I mean, it gave me so much more hope because I was saying, wow, if we can keep their offenses, throttled down, not scoring as many points, then we got a great opportunity to be a more than competitive team. We've had spurts on our defense the past few games. I'm talking about what I'm saying is like quarters or halves or something like that, but we haven't been able to sustain it. And again, we're kind of just undermanned at some positions where Coach Atwell and the defensive coaches are pressuring, and when you pressure, you got to hold up on the back end with our coverage, especially in the passing game. And the things that we're really missing, I feel like defensively the most, even though we're undermanned, is that, we got to create more negative yardage plays. And then when it's that third down, which we've been getting into those third down situations and even fourth down, we got to get ourselves off the field. And even in the last game that we played Stephen F. Austin, they did give us some opportunities. I'm talking about for interceptions. And we got 2 of them, but we had 5 opportunities. And, again, when you misfire on those are just like misfiring on scoring touchdowns offensively. They come back to really haunt you, and there's such momentum plays where you could really secure some momentum. And that's the thing that we're struggling, with the defense, is just when they can make that electric play that can really just get everybody energized. That's what we're searching for. We need something good to happen. And, again, we'll just keep fighting and clawing to make that happen. But that's the thing I feel like is affecting our defense the most.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Coach Stubbs at Nicholls State?
Hey, Coach, Jimmy Walker with the Current Sauce.
Yes, sir.
Bo Hebert played a lot last week. He's Bobby Hebert's son, and obviously Bobby Hebert being former quarterback of Northwest State University. How much will he play this week, especially with it being Northwest State University's homecoming and fans of Bobby Hebert being up here hoping to see Bo Hebert in action?
Well, it don't work that way, that's great. But he's fighting it out with Landry Klon. Many may not know that Bo's coming off of shoulder surgery. He's barely was able, even in fall camp, to throw the ball very far with any velocity. He's working his way through. This was the first time that he's really played against a really good defense. I mean, I played him in the Evangel game, which we outmanned them, and he did some nice things. And then this game here, he did some good things, but you could tell it's going to take a little bit of time. But, again, he's competing right now against Landry Klon this week in practice, and I'll play at least start the guy that I feel like can help us the most secure victory. But, again, he knows that he's one play from being the starter if he's not named the starter to start the game. So, but you can't get into whose son is who. You just play, and they're all colonels. That's all I care about, and we just go forward. Bo knows that. He's got a great future ahead here, but, again, he's got to, hopefully get healthy. And right now he's not throwing the ball like he's capable of when he's absolutely healthy.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Anything else for Coach Stubbs? All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Woodard, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, joined now by Lamar head coach Ray Woodard. Last week, the Cardinals lost at Central Arkansas 24-14, and this week play host to Sam Houston State. That game is Saturday at 3 o'clock on the Southland Conference Television Network. Coach, talk a little bit about your game last week at Central Arkansas and then what you expect from the Bearcats at home.
Well, we hadn't played up there. They got a great environment, Central Ark, great home field advantage. I thought it was a clean game, a hard-played game. Neither team had a turnover. We got after each other pretty good. Central Ark's got a very good football team. Coach Conk's doing a great job with them. We dug ourselves a hole, and they had more to do with that than anything. Gave up a late score right before halftime, and we were 17 down at halftime, and they're too good of a football team to spot them 17. Now, again, we just didn't spot them. They had a lot to do with that. But we came out, and we fought, and we played hard, and we tried to make a game out of it, and we did some good things. But in order for us to win one of these type of games, we're going to have to go into halftime a lot closer. We did some good things second half. We left there with some positives, but the bottom line is that's not good enough. We want to continue. I got to do a better job of coaching. We got to do a better job of prepping. And if we play that type of effort and prepare a little better, we may have a chance. We're learning how to compete in this league, but that's not good enough. We got to get it over the top, and we got to start trying to, we're got to try to win some of these games. And with that being said, we come home and we certainly don't have any time to feel sorry for ourselves. You turn on the film, it kind of speaks for itself. Sam Houston's a very good football team, and offensively, they got most of the guys back up front, and they're big and strong, and they got their running game back. It looks like they've expanded their Wildcat package a little bit to give you a little more to work on in that area. And their quarterback's back, and he's throwing the ball better because he's a year older and more experienced, and he's doing a better job moving the ball around. They're not a one-dimensional team by any stretch. They can throw it or run it. Defensively, they look very similar to what they looked like last year, creating a lot of turnovers, playing aggressive, creating field position and getting points for the team, and they're just a good football team. And this week it should be an easy week as far as motivating our team because all they got to do is watch the film. And I think we all realize we're playing a very good football team this week. So I think we have improved, but we're going to have to play up much better and improve a lot this week if we're going to have a chance because we're playing a very good football team.
We'll open it up for questions now for Coach Woodard at Lamar. Coach, talk a little bit about this stretch of games that you have here. Obviously, you're still looking for a win, but you go up to Central Arkansas, then you have Sam Houston at home, and then Stephen F. Austin next week.
Yeah, and then getting better after that. I said this, and I didn't mean it to try to sugarcoat anything. I think everybody in our league's improved this year. Every time I turn on film and see a team play, they look better than they did last year. And Sam was played for the national championship last year, but they got so many players back off of that team. Stephen F. Austin, I think they're playing better. Nichols looks. I've got to watch them when we're getting ready for the teams. They've played some of the teams that we're playing. They look like they've improved. Mike Neese is the same way. They're a little snake bit on the scoreboard, but they look like they're improved. It's just a tough league, and in order for us to win in this league, we're going to have to play better. We're learning painfully how tough this league is, and we're learning how to compete, but that's not going to be good enough. We realize how well we're going to have to play if we're going to win a game in this league because it's a tough league.
Other questions for Coach Woodard? Coach, I know you were without some key players on offense last week and defense as well. What are you looking like heading into Saturday?
Well, I don't think we lost anybody from the Central Arkansas game. I think everybody we went into that game with, we still have. And I look to get a few of those players back. I thought DePaul Garrett and Darrell Harris did a great job running the football in Herschel Sims' absence. We missed Kevin Johnson, but we kind of made up for it. And, I don't really sit around and talk a whole lot about what we don't have. We work with what we have, and injuries is part of the game, and we don't. None of us ever want them, but you got to prepare for them, and that's why you recruit more than one guy at each position. And everybody's dealing with the same thing at this time of year, and it's such a physical league. We're going to beat each other up a little bit. That's just part of it. But I hope to get some of those guys back this week.
Any other questions today for Coach Woodard at Lamar?
Coach, this is David McCollum from Log Cabin Democrat in Conway, and just wanted to mention you had possessed the ball about 22-plus minutes that second half and had scoring drives of 16 and 14 plays. And as you go into playing these teams and learning how to win, how encouraging that is to you to be able to sustain those type of drives?
Well, it is encouraging. We can run the ball a little bit better than we have in the past, and that helps because we don't have a ton of receivers that can really stretch the field, and that's not a negative. We're trying to learn to move the football and score points with what we have, and I think Coach Keck and our offense has done a good job doing that. but we're physically able to block people and stay in front of them and run the ball. And I think we have some gifted players in the backfield, and we're learning how to move the ball and score with what we have, and we're doing a good job of that. And I think in this league, as good as the offenses are, if we can keep their offense on the sideline by shortening the game and keeping the ball away from them, that's to our advantage. Also keeps our defense fresh. But we're to the point now we're going to have to play well in all three phases and get some turnovers if we're going to win a game or two. We're getting better. We're not there, but I am encouraged by some things I see. I'm still disappointed we're not winning games, but I'm encouraged. Our guys have still got a great attitude. They're working hard, and I see improvement, and we're starting to get there. Did I get cut off?
No, you're still there. Any other questions for Coach Woodard?
I thought maybe I said something I should, and you cut me off there.
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay.
All right, Coach. Appreciate your time today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Coach Viator, are you with us?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right, joined now by McNeese State head coach Matt Viator. Last week, the Cowboys lost at Sam Houston State 45-10, and this week return home to Lake Charles, where they'll play host to Stephen F. Austin Saturday at 7 p.m. That is on the Southland Conference Television Network. Coach, talk a little bit about that game in Huntsville last week, and then as you prepare for the Lumberjacks at home.
Well, I mean, it was not a good game for us, obviously, but give Sam credit. I mean, they did a great job, and, we had some chances early in the game and just didn't do much with them. And, once we kind of got behind, we stayed behind and kept getting further behind. But like I said, Sam Houston had a lot to do with that and have a really good football team. And I agree with what Coach Woodard was saying a while ago. I think, I've always thought Brian Bell was good. But, now that, he's throwing the ball more, and they picked up a couple of transfer wideouts, and I think has enhanced, their offense in terms of being able to both run it and throw it. I mean, they're really difficult to defend. And then defensively, they're what they were last year, and they pressure and do a great job. But, Stephen F., we really like, obviously, got a really good team. And, I think Attaway is certainly, I'm sure their coaches are excited about the way he's progressed. And, he's doing a great job of running the offense, and the Johnson kid can really run it now too, which gives them an added dimension with a big back that can stick it in there too. And but Roberson, I think, is as good as we've seen in our league that I have, in terms of the way he handles himself on the field, and just tremendous hands. Big kid that catches everything around him, and so they're a handful on offense, and then defensively, I really like what they're doing too. They, you turn on the film and you know what you're getting with 5 for sure at defensive end, and then you look up and 48 I think is really playing good as well. So I mean, they got 2 good ends. Efferson's still there and playing really good on the back end. With the Aubreys and Caleb Nelson, they've been there a long time. So it's going to be a tough test for us. We're at home, and we have to bounce back and play better this week.
All right, we'll go ahead and open up for questions now for Matt Viator, the head coach at McNeese State.
Coach, this is Kevin Gore, Nacogdoches.
Hi, Kevin.
Hey, man. Maybe just talk about your team's morale or how you're feeling about things. You had 2 close losses, and then you had the one with Sam. Just where are y'all at right now as far as your mindset and how you look at the rest of the games?
Kevin, you just got to go back to work and practice. I don't know. I mean, that seems to be the hot question by our guys here too. And and when you get in a season with a limited amount of time, I mean, it's not like you have time to just sit down and and talk to each individual kid. And you have to continue to work. And I don't know where we are morale-wise, to be honest with you. And we keep practicing, and we had a good week of practice actually last week. And so I was hoping to play better because we had a good week of preparation, and but we turn around and play another really good team this week in SFA. So you just don't have time to sit around and sulk about it or anything, or the close losses or the blowout loss last week. You have to regroup and play, and so that's all we're trying to do. I mean, we're going to practice this week like we always do, and we just have to play better.
I guess really just to follow up, everyone talks about Stephen F's offense and what they do, but it looks to me, the defense is playing really well against against Nichols, and had a real good game against Central Arkansas too. Is that when you're looking at them? Is that kind of what you see too?
No question. I think they do a really, really good job of doing what they do, and they probably don't pressure as much as most people, But I mean, what Stephen F does, they do very, very well, and I love what they do because they get after the passer with their front four guys, and moving Maddox inside now too gives them a really, really viable pass rusher from the inside. And like I said, I mean, but we all know about Jefferson. I said 5 a while ago. I know it's his number, but I mean, I ought to know who hit by name after last year. But I really love 48 in the way he's playing and coming off the other edge. So that gives you a problem as well. And in the secondary, very, very sound in what they do. And I really like the Aubreys and, like I said, Caleb Nelson. I mean, those kids have been good players now for several years, just solid football players. Never get out of position, do a great job of tackling. I've always really thought that Nelson and both the Aubreys were excellent tacklers through the years. And yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think they're playing really good defensively as well.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Other questions for Matt Viator? All right, Coach. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob.
Coach Conk, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, joined now by Central Arkansas head coach Clint Conk. Last week the Bears beat Lamar 24-14, and this week travel down to Hammond to take on Southeastern Louisiana. That game is at 7 o'clock. Coach, talk about your win over Lamar last week, and then as you get ready to take on Southeastern, which hasn't lost in conference play.
Yeah, first of all, we were really excited to be playing at home after a long trip to South Louisiana the week before. Overall, it was a solid win. I thought we played fairly well. Our body of work in the first half was good. We scored 3 times, and the opponent Lamar didn't score, so 17-0. So, the body of work in the first half, we felt good about. The second half was a different story, and Lamar had a lot to do with that. I thought Coach Woodard and his offensive staff had a good game plan, but we certainly didn't play very inspired football in the second half, and that was very concerning to our coaching staff. But difficult to win college football games, and anytime you get an opportunity to do that, and you do come out on the plus side of the ledger, you feel good about that. And certainly it secured our 6th win of the season. That's always important in our program to stack winning seasons on top of each other. We're able to get that accomplished on Saturday, and had some excellent individual performances. Winrick Smothers, once again, 74% completions, 20 of 27, 271 yards, a couple touchdowns, no interceptions. I thought Jesse Grandy had another big day, both at receiver and in a return game, and he's playing with a significant amount of confidence. Justin Love, out of the secondary, had double-digit tackles, playing very physical. And then, of course, Kevin Buford, was selected the Conference Player of the Week on special teams. He averaged 47.5 yards a punt, so he's playing with a lot of confidence. So we move forward and transition to Southeastern Louisiana. And I've said this as long as I've been in the league, that each and every year, in my opinion, has as much or more talent and length and athleticism and size and speed as anybody in our conference. And they're putting it together. And I think a great deal of credit goes to Coach Roberts and his staff. He's got them playing extremely hard. Certainly they played a very demanding non-conference schedule, kept the team together, won a close game, got some momentum going, and certainly they have good players on both sides of the ball. Very talented, and their schemes are very good. We need to have our best week of preparation of the season this week. We need to travel well because we have to go to Hammond, another significant trip, and I think real key for us is going to be to start fast and finish. And it's something we have not consistently done. We've played good halves, good quarters, three-quarters of a game, but we're going to have to play a complete 60-minute game, as they've got, quite a few returners. Again, confidence goes a long way, and certainly they've had some impact players join their program as well. I really like the way the quarterback Stanley's playing, and in his development, and he's a senior and a big, strong young man, and he can run, and of course they've got Walker on defense, and Alford's playing as good as any corner we've seen in this conference as far as being a lockdown guy and tackles well, and of course his return skills. So this is a big game for the University of Central Arkansas, and our players know it, our community knows it, our coaching staff knows it. So we're gonna do everything we can to be competitive on Saturday.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Clint Conk, the head coach of Central Arkansas.
Good morning, Coach Conk. This is John Lenz in Hammond.
Hey, John, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Looking forward to getting back after it. It's a weekend without football down here. Those bye weeks kind of wear on you a little bit. But you're facing a team that's obviously very diverse on defense. It's probably what they kind of hang their hat on that side. Have you seen anybody that does the kind of things that they do in terms of mixing it up and disguise? I know everybody tries to do it. They seem to have had some pretty good success doing it. Anybody that this team compares to defensively that you've seen already?
Well, actually, Lamar has some similar characteristics to the team that we just played. An odd man front that's a hybrid 4-down team that gets to, 5 down, that plays man and zone. So there'll be a little bit of carryover. I think Southeastern is playing with really good athletes and a great deal of confidence. And they're a high risk, big reward defense. And I've seen more hits out of their defense on opposing quarterbacks than any team in our league up to this point. And they know how to pressure the quarterback. They can defend. They run well, and they do a nice job.
Winrick has been obviously a difference maker at quarterback for you guys this year. He kind of guy that maybe can escape some of that pressure. But how is he in terms of being able to read and recognize? And obviously that's going to be a big test for your offense whether he can figure out what he's looking at.
Well, it's a huge challenge, and he's going to have a great week in the film room to begin with, and then be able to carry that to the practice field. And certainly we're going to have to do a great job with our look units to try to simulate what Southeastern does on defense. And we just got to make sure that we get him protected, and we feel good about our wide receivers. We feel like we've got 3 or 4 guys that can run and stretch the field and catch the football, and we like our backs, and so. I just think it's going to be a heck of a college football game, but they do put a lot of pressure on you up front, and Winrick is going to have to probably play his best game to date, and I know he's very much looking forward to it as well.
Offensively, they've kind of struggled a little bit running the football this year, better in the last few games. How have they managed to be successful? I mean, considering the talent that they lost at receiver last year and so forth, how has their offense been able to put together a 3-0 start?
Well, I think up front they're pretty talented, and then I think they've got a really good scheme, and been knowing Coach Stevens for a while, and I think he does a great job schematically, and he's getting the ball to his skill players in space, and they're going to run a couple of reverses every game, or reverse pass, or throwback. They're going to run some zone read. I mean, downhill at you. I mean, they stretch it. I mean, they do a lot of different things scheme-wise to prepare for, and they get their athletes out in space, and then when they need to be able to throw it, I really like how Stanley's developed and his growth and maturity at quarterback. So it's not surprising to me to see that they're sitting at the top of the conference standings at this point.
I know there has to be a little bit of a surprise there. I mean, given what the team had at the beginning of the year and where everybody was picked them, I don't think too many people would have figured them at 3-0 at this point. But, here you are, and it's the next big game.
Well, it is a big game, but, as I mentioned earlier in my opening comments about Southeastern, I've always felt in the 6 years we've been in the conference, or whatever it's been, that they match up athletically, skill, talent, size, and length with everybody in this conference, and maybe superior to that. And I mean that. I've always said that. A very athletic football team. And being from South Louisiana and recruiting Louisiana and Mississippi, they're in an excellent location, talent-based wise, and I think Coach Roberts done a good job of getting them to believe in their abilities, and then you win a couple games and you start getting that confidence, and that's what's happened. And preseason polls are about as worthless as the paper they're written on. That's a good football team that we're preparing for this week.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet, John.
Anything else for Coach Conk at Central Arkansas? All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
You bet.
Coach Pivotal, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
All right, joined now by Northwestern State head coach Bradley Dale Pivotal. The Demons were off last week, haven't played since playing Southeastern Louisiana nearly 2 weeks ago. And then this week play host to Nicholls State. That game Saturday at 6. Coach, did you watch much football?
I did. I wish we were open again. Get used to
that. Talk to us a little bit about how your team was in preparation last week, and then as you get ready to take on the Colonels on Saturday.
Well, we were needing a break. We had played 7 straight. That's a lot without an open date, so it was a good time to get healed up, get rested. We had 3 great work days last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and gave our guys a long weekend so they could go home and, see their families and watch their high school teams play, and came back. Normally we don't practice on Monday, had a good Monday practice, and you could tell we were fresh, which we needed. So, we did not, we basically took the 3 days last week and worked demons on demons, worried about the demons, and just tried to, get better at what we do against each other, and it was a great week. And, this week, Nicholls State, they're definitely a team that's much better than their record, and they've been very, very impressive to watch, and I see them kind of a lot like us, that if they ever put a whole game together, they're a deadly team. Because what you see them do in spurts and for a half here, a half there, they're a very good football team and do a lot of good things, and, defensively give you a lot of issues. With that odd man front, do a great job of mixing up the zone, man, and pressure, and have always given us fits every time we've played them. They do a very good job of coaching. Got a lot of active guys, with Darrell Brown's been a guy up front, 96, I've been very, very proud of, and Rashard Knight, Jordan Piper, middle linebacker, is just he's a veteran player and made a lot of plays and has always played very good against us. I know Segan was out against SFA, but was a guy we recruited, thought a lot of, and has started there since his freshman year. TJ Loomer, they do a good job and very athletic defensively. And on the offensive side, I've always felt like they do a heck of a job of mixing it up with what they do schematically. Coach Stubbs, OC'd around the country, a lot of great places, and has a great mind. And I've just always been impressed with how they give you the different personnel groups and the things they make you prepare for. Just have always thought a lot of Marcus Washington had a great game against us 2 years ago, and Jesse Turner, I think, is playing really, really well. They do a great job getting the ball to their backs. Nick Scelfo, a really good tight end, does a great job, catching, great hands, and they just do a great job of spreading the ball. If you look at their stats, there's a lot of guys that have had a lot of touches, and they make you defend a lot of different things. Do a great job with their wildcat, their empties. They're very multiple and makes you work. So, it's a big game because it's our next one, but they're a very good football team, and we'll have to play very, very well to win here at home.
All right, we'll go ahead and open up for questions now for Coach Pivito at Northwestern State.
Hey, Coach, it's Jason Pugh.
Hey, Jason, how are you?
Doing good, Coach. You talked about the open week and getting fresh and everything. Were there some other things that you wanted to accomplish last week that you did get accomplished?
It was. We circled some things in all three phases and really just went back to basic and fundamentals and got good work against each other. We really did. And I'll be honest with you, wanted to get our guys fresh. We didn't even look at tape. And, very seldom have I done that, but I thought, you hear all kind of different things people do on open week. And if you talk to a lot of the NFL guys that come back around, they get the whole week off. And then you hear some college teams taking the whole week off. And, guys work out year-round now, Jason. I mean, that's the deal. It's not show up in August and go to camp and get them in shape. I mean, it's all year-round. These guys are working out, and the academics requirements are tougher than ever. And, there's a lot of pressure on them. And the open week you need to get fresh. So we basically had a team meeting every day and went right to the field and had great practice, great work against each other fundamentally, and went back to fundamentals and individual and half scales and pass scales and blitz periods, and just worked against each other. And I said, hey, all we're worrying about is the demons this week. We'll worry about the Colonels next week when it's time to play them, but it's all about the demons and us getting better fundamentally at the things we have to do to carry us through the next 4 weeks. And that's kind of how we approached it. And now we're focused in on the Nicholls State Colonels, and, they're a very good football team. And, but I feel like the fundamental work we went back and circled and worked on is going to really help us, this week in this game.
And also, I guess you got a little healthier this week, which was another objective.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We were banged up. The Southeastern game was a very physical game, and, had a lot of guys that were not out for the year, but, were beat up and wouldn't have played last week, and we got them back, and they were able to practice Monday, so that was huge for us. But, yes, getting rested and getting healed up and getting our guys back was a big plus. It was a great time for us to be open.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, it's Teddy in Thibodeau. How you doing this morning, buddy?
Hey, Teddy. Are you coming up for the game, Teddy?
No, sir. It's not my week this week. Buddy.
No, wait a minute, Teddy. Hey, I'll buy you your room. I'll pay for it. You hear me? I done told you that. I want you. Hey, come up.
Okay, Coach.
Come on. Hey, I got you covered. You get up here. I got you covered. You hear me?
All right. I'll take in consideration, but I don't think my wife is going to allow that. But
bring her too.
I know, Coach, but let's just talk a little bit about the game, Coach. You mentioned Jordan Piper and his play this year for Nicholls. Looking at him on film, I mean, what are some of the attributes he brings to the game, and what really impresses you about him?
You know what? I've watched him. He's a veteran guy. Of course, I coach linebackers here as well, and I just think he's very instinctive. He's got a great feel for the game. He's very active. And, he's just always in position. He makes a lot of plays, and just been a guy that I've always enjoyed watching, number 33. He's just a very good linebacker and just fun to watch. But I think he's very instinctive. He runs well, very physical, and just has a great nose for the ball, great feel for the game.
And of course, their offense has been sputtering of late. Obviously, when you lose a guy like LeQuint and Tuskegee on your offense running that Wildcat, it takes away certain aspects of their run game. But when you watch their offensive line, do you see this group getting better each week and able to – this team can obviously – you said they possess weapons and make you cover the field, but is this line seeming to come together as you watch them on film?
I think they're a lot better. They've done a great job with those young men. They've come a long way. They're very physical and really have played very, very well, in my opinion. And like I said, we could say the same things. We've lost 3 very close games this year. And, in those games, of course the opponent always has something to do with it. I'm not taking anything away at all because, when you lose, the opponent made more plays than you did to win, they wouldn't have won. So I'm not taking anything away from that. But, in those 3 games, as we looked at them, we did not play complete games in those 3. And had we played like we played in the first half or the second half in those 3 games, we would have had a much better chance of winning. That's kind of how I see Nicholls State right now. That you see a lot of great things, and there's games they've come out in the first half, and you look at that, and if you didn't know the score, you'd say, wow, they're going to win this game. And it's been a lot like us. So I see us being 2 similar teams, that doing some good things, but both teams that need to put games together for 60 minutes. And but no, they're very deadly. And I think to go back and answer your question, their offensive line is much improved. They're very physical and play extremely hard. And that was the first thing that our coaches said when we started, breaking them down was, wow, this offensive line is very much improved from a year ago.
All right, Coach. Thanks very much, buddy.
Teddy, hope to see you, brother.
My honey-do list is too big this weekend, buddy.
Hey, get it done during the week, Teddy. Come on now.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, buddy.
All right, Coach. Appreciate the time today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Fritz, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, joined now by Sam Houston State head coach Willie Fritz. Last week, the Bearcats beat McKee State 45-10. And this week travel down to Beaumont to take on Lamar at Saturday at 3 p.m. That is on the Southland Conference Television Network. Coach, talk a little bit about that game last week against the Cowboys, and then talk about what you expect from the Cardinals on Saturday.
Well, we played our most complete game of the season. Really played well, offense, defense, in the kicking game. Offensively, Richard Sincere, Southland Conference Offensive Player of the Week, really did a good job. He's back to full speed. He got a little banged up early in the year and bruised his knee, and we were kind of having to be careful with his reps, but he really looks like he's back to full speed. And Tim Flanders, I thought, really had a good ball game as well. Did a lot of the tough running inside between the tackles. That opens up the triple option on the perimeter. Brian threw the ball well. Chance Nelson, Trey Diller had some big catches for us, and had some big conversions on 3rd down and long situations. And defensively, to hold them to 210 yards total offense, that's difficult to do. And a couple guys that played really well for us defensively was Darnell Taylor. I thought our whole secondary played pretty well, but he had 10 tackles. And then J.T. Cleveland, Defensive Player of the Week, probably had his best game as a Bearcat. Obviously, we're turning our attention to Lamar. Statistically, right now, they've got a top defense in the conference, really doing a good job of getting in and out of 3- and 4-man fronts. Play some man, mix it with some zone. Very impressed with them. Defensive side of the ball, and as Coach said earlier, they're starting to run the ball effectively. And so they're bring a lot of very good players and tough schemes to defend and also try to get some yards against. So we're looking forward to the challenge Saturday over in Beaumont.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Willie Fritz, the head coach at Sam Houston State.
Hey, Coach, this is Chris with the Beaumont Enterprise.
Yes,
I just wanted to ask you that loss that he had earlier in the season against Central Arkansas, what do you feel like that? Did that do something for your team over the next 4 weeks since then?
Well, every team is totally different, and I just think it took us a little while to get our bearings. We have essentially 3 new coaches offensively, really 4 new coaches offensively, and so completely new staff, and trying to mix and match what we've done and what they brought to the table as well. And I think we're starting to hit our stride, right now offensively and playing a lot better. And I think our offensive coaches know what our guys can do now and what they're good at, and trying to put them in good positions. Defensively, we're disappointed early in the season. We just weren't playing as fast as what we played last year. And the last couple of weeks, I think we're playing with a lot more team speed. So, went up to Central Arkansas, and they beat us plain and simple. And we just had to come back and find ways to improve. And I think we've gotten a little bit better each week.
When you came to Sam Houston State, you made a pretty quick turnaround with the program and getting it as far as you did last year. And from your standpoint and having an understanding of how to turn around a program, what's been your analysis of Lamar over the 3 years since they've started up their program? What kind of progress have you seen out of them?
Well, I've never been in that situation before where you have to buy helmets and shoulder pads and all those kind of things, just starting a program from scratch. But, I think they've, as Coach talked about, this is a tough league, and every week you got to scratch and claw to get a W, and I see great improvement in them. I think they've done a very good job of recruiting, mixing some high school kids with transfer kids and junior college kids who can play, and getting some explosive players, and you see the development from year 1 to year 2 to year 3, and I think they're a heck of a ball club, and I think they do a very good job over there.
They're going to be without Darius Taylor in this week's game. What kind of impact will that have on your defense?
Well, he's a very good player for us, and we're going to miss him, but we got to move on, and so that's what we're intending on doing.
Other questions for Coach Fritz? All right, Coach, appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Roberts, are you with us?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
All right, joined now by Southeastern Louisiana head coach Ron Roberts. Last week, Southeastern was off and returned this week to play host to Central Arkansas. Coach, tell us how what you worked on with your team last week, and obviously what you know about or what you see from Central Arkansas.
Well, it came at a great time. The off week came at a great time for us, and I think when you play, 7 games, you're kind of banged up. You need a little rest, and we definitely needed it. We had some guys that again have been injured for the last couple of weeks. Playing with some bum ankles and shoulders and stuff, and those things came at a pretty good time. We those guys that needed to be held out, we held them out of practice. Last week really was about trying to get them fresh, trying to get them healthy. We went out on field Tuesday and Wednesday, tried to get some more time in the weight room. Thursday we just lift and ran, gave them the weekend off, Friday and Saturday, chance to hopefully rejuvenate them, mentally as well. And came back in Sunday, had a great practice, and the guys are pretty fresh. Looking forward to this week. It's a huge week. Obviously, Central Arkansas is a great football team. They're ranked in the country, and they got offense has always put a lot of points on the board. They got a very athletic quarterback, some really great receivers. That'll be a huge challenge for us to be able to slow them down. And defensively they're very sound all across the board. They don't make a lot of mistakes, and they've got a very athletic linebacking core that's very active sideline to sideline. So it's a big week for us. We're still in the process of us trying to get better every week, and it's important for us to come out and have a great week of practice just to make sure we play well on Saturday.
All right, we'll go ahead and open up for questions now for Ron Roberts, the head coach at Southeastern Louisiana.
Hey, Coach, this is Kevin Gore, Nacogdoches.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. Just looking at y'all's next 3. I know Coach speaks. You're always looking for the next one, but you got Central Arkansas, Sam, and then SFA. So, have you addressed that with your team? The fact that your next 3 are against some really, really good teams that hope to win the crown, just like you guys do.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. We talked about that. Obviously there's a tough stretch, 4 ball games in Nichols, and we'll finish up with Nichols. So we got 4 games in our conference left to play, and against it. I think any one of them is just like the same in this conference. They're good football teams, well coached, going to play hard, and it's going to be a nail biter every week, and you just got to be ready to fight, for 60 minutes. And Our big one, this week was Central Arkansas. I know their kind of mentality coming in is that, if they get us, and they feel like they've got the conference championship wrapped up. And so I know they're going to be a very inspired ball club coming in here. It's important for us to just do the things we can do, play as well as we can play, and don't get wrapped up in everything else, and take it one game at a time, and come out there. I think if we play well, I think we're going to get ourselves in a dogfight, and hopefully we'll get ourselves in a position to win it late.
Coach, this is David McCollum from the Log Cabin Democrat in Conway, and just have you faced anybody that does things similarly to what Central Arkansas does to help prepare you for what you're facing?
Well, I think we've seen pretty much everything this year, either from schematically, from, our out-of-conference schedule, South Dakota State, UT Martin, Missouri, UAB. We've seen some good receivers. I don't know if we've seen a tandem as talented as this receiving corps that Central Arkansas has. They have a very talented receiving corps, a lot of unbelievable talent, really, and so that's going to be a huge challenge. And obviously, a very athletic quarterback.
And how is that you played a tough non-conference schedule? How has that prepared you now for this stretch of games?
Well, I think the biggest plus for us is we've seen speed of some games, and speed on the perimeter and skill positions about as well as we're going to see anywhere. I don't think there's anything that's really going to, shock us from that standpoint. Now, it was time we didn't really actually play it very well, and we didn't defend it very well. But I think we've seen the speed of the game as fast as it's going to happen. But the challenge that I think UCA brings is obviously that there's a whole core of them that any one of them can take it to the house when they touch the football.
Other questions for Coach Roberts? All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Coach Harper, are you with us? JC?
Yeah.
Okay. Joined now by Stephen F. Austin head coach J.C. Harper. Last week, the Lumberjacks beat Nicholls State 44-10, and this week traveled down to Lake Charles to take on McNeese State. That game is Saturday at 7 p.m. on the Southland Conference Television Network. Coach, talk about the win last week over Nicholls, and then what you expect out of the Cowboys on Saturday.
Well, I thought we played a really probably one of our better games. We seemed to be really in rhythm early on in the game, and we're executing what we wanted to do offensively, and our defense just really stepped up and played tremendous. Probably our best defensive performance of the year so far, and we got some really good football players on that side of the ball, and I thought they played tremendously hard, and really was a good game for us. I thought our special teams really played well as well. I mean, I thought Jordan Wiggs really did a nice job of being consistent and taking care of business, not only on field goals but on kickoffs, and did a tremendous job. And Brady Attaway did a tremendous job of punting the football. I mean, I think his average was a 48, and so that's pretty impressive as a punter. And was really happy for what he did. It's a really good tool for us, for him to be able to punt the football. And Cordell had another good day, and DJ Ward really stepped it up and played tremendously well and had a great day. And Brady is to me in the last two ball games. He's been pretty consistent all year, but the last two ball games for throwing for, I think, right at over 1,000 yards in two ball games is tremendous job, and in three ball games that have been really tough games, Sam Houston and Montana State, two top teams in our conference. He's thrown for over 400 yards, one of them 545 against Sam Houston, and last weekend 462 yards against Nicholls State. And so that's what we do, and we throw the football, and so he's really helping us, run our offense, and I thought he did a tremendous job of doing that on Saturday, and he seems to really be getting in rhythm right now, better and better. McNeese, it's just to me, it's just another one of those games, that we play on the road that has been a tough season, playing, at SMU and at Montana State. And, Montana State and SMU, and McNeese, I think are very similar, teams and very similar venues. I remember when we went to Montana State and we played there, the stadium and the crowd and the tailgating and everything beforehand is very similar to, the tradition and that happens at McNeese. And it's going to be a really tough environment for us, and playing a tough game at McNeese to me, I'm very impressed, with what I see offensive line-wise. It's probably the best offensive line we've played against. They're very, very big, very physical, very well coached. Their running backs are very talented. I think the quarterback is really playing well, and their receivers, it's like old McNeese to me. Defensively, their line is tremendously fast and aggressive, and linebackers make a lot of plays, and secondary plays really tough. And so, it's going to be a tough game for us, especially, I think defensively, because McNeese is one of the top rushing teams in the country. And anytime you play McNeese, if you open up their media guide, you quickly realize that you're playing, one of the top programs in the country, because they obviously talk about the tradition of excellence with having 13 South End Conference championships, and their winning records, and so this is something for us that's going to be a tremendous challenge for us this weekend.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for J.C. Harper, head coach at Stephen F. Austin.
Hey, Coach Harper, this is Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
Maybe just a comment. You went for it on your own 41 early in the game and picked up a first down, and later in the game you passed up a field goal opportunity and went for it on fourth down, and you scored a touchdown. So maybe just a comment on how you're looking at maybe the urgency of the situation with y'all having one league loss, and just maybe give me some thoughts on your thoughts on why you're doing that, and why you feel it's necessary that you're pushing the envelope right now.
Well, really, Kevin, if it was me, I'd go for it on fourth down every time. I think, to me, being a defensive coordinator, I think when you go for it on fourth down, I think that really is tough on defenses, because when you scrimmage or when you do things, I know from at least for what's from me, you're always wanting to get that defense off the field. You talk about third down, 3 and outs, get them off the field. Well, I think when you go for it on fourth down, and your percentages are, I don't know what they're going to be. I had no idea what was going to happen, but I knew that, from a head coach's standpoint, offensively, after having a weekend off, I was concerned about our rhythm, and I wanted to make sure we got in rhythm, and that's why, I went for it, was to really push to get in rhythm, and my hope was that our defense would step up, and I think the coaches here know me, and the defense knows me, and they know that that's why at times we're going to go for it on fourth down and make those. I don't know if it's really a risk, to be honest with you. I think in the game situations, we played McNeese here a few years ago, back when they had the quarterback that was. I thought he was unbelievable, and they went for it many fourth downs and ran the football with him and converted, and those are so hard, and so I think that's more really the reason why I went for it on fourth down as opposed to the other factors that you're talking about. I think it was more of a deal coming off an open date, and just the situation seemed right, and I thought our defense was really playing pretty well.
Other questions for Coach Harper?
Coach, this is Alex Hickey in Lake Charles.
Yeah, hey, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
do you feel like this game is maybe a matchup of teams that may be better than their record indicates? I mean, you've got a couple of losses to top 10 teams and then a close loss to an FBS team, and McNeese has a couple of one-point losses. You know, do you feel like the quality of these two teams is better maybe than your record would show right now?
Well, you definitely can say that about McNeese. McNeese is a very talented football team. And I mean, I don't think you go to Middle Tennessee State and beat Middle Tennessee State on the road if you're not. They've had some maybe some injuries or something that might have changed things up a little bit. And for us, the schedule was so tremendous early on. I was hoping we could really be good at that time and maybe be able to knock off one or two of those guys. And we played really close, kind of like McNeese has. And so, yeah, I would have to agree with you. I mean, they're both. I'd like to think that we're, I know we're good at throwing the football. I mean, we're number one in the country right now in throwing the football. And so I think we're good at that. But we gotta be better at it where we don't, turn the ball over. And those are the things we talk about. I would say offensively, I'd say it'd probably be the same for McNeese. They're look at all the stats and they're right there in the middle of everything, which usually means you're a pretty good football team.
Last year was really coming out for Willie Jefferson when he played McNeese. Just how has his progression continued at defensive end this season?
I think Willie Jefferson is really, really good football player. I mean, you're not going to block him one-on-one. We don't, and he's always a problem for us when we go any good-on-good stuff, and he's just we watched the film as a group on a couple plays, and he's got that one move down, and he's got it down so good that he's just unstoppable, and I know a lot of people are doing a lot of things to keep him from being a factor, and I think he's really stepping up and being a lot more physical as a defensive end. He's really doing a better job of playing that position other than just rushing the passer, and he's a definite force. And there's just not very many guys at our level with that amount of talent, and he's a really special football player.
How much is he still kind of learning the nuances of the position since, he is a guy who converted from offense. How much learning is still going on for him? Well,
I think it's a great question, and I said this. He really needs one more year. I mean, if he had one more year, and that's what's really kind of, I don't know if the word is sad, but it's the only word I can think of, that if you find, if players would, could find that niche early and find that place early, where that is, or coaches could get that done, where you could really find that, then you end up having, what Cordell Roberson is right now. Cordell came here and he's been throwing and catching the football for 4 years. And so he's really developed and refined his skills as to what we do and his niche, and we pinpoint that, and that's all he does. And that's why he's today been named a Walter Payton Award candidate, and it's well deserved. And I think Willie, would have the same. I think he needs one more year to really, 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 to refine, those skills of both rushing the passer and playing, defensive end. I think he'll get that opportunity, just not here.
Mm-hmm.
That answer your question?
Yep.
Okay.
Anything else for Coach Harper? All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah, have a great day.
You too. All right. Thanks for your participation this week in the Week 9 call. Wish the best of luck to everybody on Saturday. Safe travels to everyone. We'll join you again next week, next Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. So everyone have a good week, and we'll talk to you again next Tuesday. Thanks.